To order and begin with the superintendent's report.
Well, thank you, Skip. Welcome to everyone in the audience this evening. Great to see you all tonight. And also a big welcome to everyone watching our live stream. Hard to believe, summer's over. 2 weeks from now, we will have the first day of school, Monday, August 28th. Our campuses have been full of activity, and many of our fall teams are actually going to be competing this week. So stay tuned. Lots of scores will be rolling in very, very quickly. Real quick, I wanted to just take a minute and probably speaking on behalf of the board, Steve, and our administrative team, I just want to thank our hardworking staff for getting our buildings ready for the start of school this year and our grounds. They've been working extremely hard, so I just really wanted to let them know how much I appreciate that. Speaking of coming back, included in your packet is our back-to-school pre-service agenda for our staff. So on Monday, this upcoming Monday, we're going to welcome all our new staff for new teacher orientation here in the boardroom. And then on Tuesday, the 22nd, the entire teaching staff will return. We're going to have professional learning and classroom time at the buildings. And then on Wednesday, that will be our annual VCS opener, and I hope all of you can make it. We're going to start with breakfast at 7:15 in the high school cafeteria. Then we'll move into the PAC for our opener. After our opener, Charlie Coleman from Solution Tree will be leading our learning on Wednesday as we continue as a district to work on strengthening our professional learning communities. Thursday will be a half day for the staff in their buildings, and they will be participating in the Alice Refresher Training. So we had lots of great learning going on next week. And then, as I said, the following Monday, the 28th, we will welcome all our precious students back on our campuses. So again, I hope all of you can join us next Wednesday for our opener. It's always a great day. As far as staffing goes, we're very close to having all our positions full. We do have some open positions out there. So please spread the word that if you know people that are looking for a position in our district, to come on by and fill out an application. Also like to draw your attention to the important dates page in your packet. With school starting, we got lots and lots of great things going on. Starting this Thursday, our Transportation Safety Carnival will be held next door in the VAB VAB field from 6 to 8. It's always a great event. Come on by if you can. And then the following week, we're going to have our elementary open houses at all three elementaries on August 22nd from 5 to 6:30. And then the middle school and the high school are going to have their open houses on the 23rd from 5:30 to 7. And as I said, the 28th will be our first day of school. Then when September rolls around, we will have our Labor Day holiday break. That will be September 1 through the 4th, with school resuming on Tuesday the 5th. And for your calendars, our annual community tailgate will be taking place on Friday, September 8th. That will be from 4:30 to 6:30 next to the stadium, and then with the game to follow at 7. And then our next meeting will be September 11th here in the VAB. A couple things I'd like to bring up also. I wanted to let you know that the VEA contract has been ratified by the VEA, and it is in the packet tonight for the board approval. I just wanted to thank the VEA bargaining team and the VCS team. Very collaborative process. We're very excited about this new 2-year deal and looking forward to your approval this evening. And with that, that's my report.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, we'll go on to budget and finance report. Steve?
Okay, two quick items to cover with this evening's report. I've got the general fund budget progress report for the first month of the new fiscal year for the month of July. As you look at that report, you'll see that it's pretty light. There's not a lot of activity. I'll go through it real quickly. On the revenue side, there's just not quite 155,000 of revenue, and we are just at the point where we would start to collect very early summer tax collection, so that's going to be a part of it, but also some of our other things that are going on in the summer, like our summer kids club. There's going to be investment income, summer camps, and that type of thing included in that number. Of course, we won't start to collect our state revenue until third week in October, so you won't see a lot of activity there. nor will you see a lot of activity in the federal or other revenue for the next several months. On the expenditure side, again, there's not a tremendous amount to relay. On the instructional expenditures, total instructional expenditures were $78,145. That would include some summer school, but also some of the curriculum material purchases that are coming in for the upcoming school year. On the support services totaled $329,320. And that's obviously a much higher number, but a lot of those occur kind of throughout the fiscal year, so they're not quite as tied to the school calendar. Other expenditures, we had a small amount in athletics and community services, and you can see that total expenditures year-to-date are just $461,811. And traditionally, the first couple months, we really don't see a ton of activity, all right? Second page of that report summarizes the year-to-date expenses by object code, and you can see that in total, we've spent just 1.25% of our annual budget, but salaries and benefits are at $302,416, and then you can see the breakdown there for purchase services, supplies, capital outlay, and other. Any questions on that? If not, then we'll just take a quick look at the investment portfolio as it stood at the end of July. And you can see the list is starting to get a little bit shorter as some of the treasury securities and commercial paper have matured. And those were, those investments were timed to coincide with our expected draw schedule on the construction. So as those securities come due and mature, that roughly correlates with when the invoices are coming in for the contractors. So total, in the 2022 Building and Site Fund, the total amount at the end of July was $10,267,486. There's a tiny amount still in the 2020 Building and Site Fund, as that has essentially been spent down. And then you can see in the debt retirement funds, there's about $382,000. That number, as we start to collect our tax collections, we'll take a look, and once we have satisfied the November principal and interest payments, then we'll take additional funds for the May payments and get those invested so we can generate as much investment income on that as we can. And then finally, the general fund has about $3.7 million in cash management fund. And you can see the interest rates continue to look great. We're, even in what are essentially money market funds, if you think of money market funds, we're earning over 5% on those. So it's a good place to be. Any questions?
Steve, do you anticipate, I was just looking, since we're spending money and we don't have anything coming in until, or much coming in until late October, do you anticipate that we're gonna be borrowing again, or less, or more, because interest rates are now an issue?
Right, that's a great question, a great question, Dave. So for the last several years, we have not needed to borrow for cash flow purposes. And so at this point, I do not anticipate needing to do that. Now, we still have, what you don't see in here is we did collect installment of state aid in the month of July. That was accrued as revenue in the 22-23 financial statement, so you don't see that here. And we have one more installment of state aid that'll come in August.
Okay.
There's some additional federal funds and that type of thing. And, as we've been able to increase our fund equity, we're in a pretty good position now where, at least for this year, hopefully for next year, we will not need to issue state aid notes.
Great, thank you.
Other questions or comments? All right, if not, then that will conclude my report.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
It looks like we've got 4 people who wish to address us on a non-agenda item. First, Bill Legge, did I say that correct? Legge, okay.
I had throat cancer 3 years ago.
If you can stand by that mic right there.
I figured it out. But he can't hear me.
If not, we'll share for some.
to mention I'm nervous. Bill Ledger, I'm a concerned grandfather, 2 grandchildren, Vicksburg schools. I'm also a Facebook member. Parents for protecting biological girls' rights. I've heard that some in the community have labeled us as a hate group. I am 66, and I can tell you, I don't hate anybody. It's not about that. The reason my wife and I joined the group to discuss our frustrations with the way things going in the schools. My granddaughter had an incident at her elementary school. That's elementary. The boy went to the younger girl's bathroom wearing a dress. There were 2 kindergartners in that restroom. They left crying. They went into the older girl's restroom. My granddaughter went straight to the principal and told him what was going on. He handled it, I thought, very professional, very good. He called, talked to the boy's parents, and then called all the other parents involved. The issue is handled quick. Students are contacted. Parents are contacted. I don't pretend to know the answer, but I do know boys should be in their private areas. They should not be in the girls' rooms. I understand everybody has their rights. All students be treated equal, but there shouldn't be any special rights. And we're just curious, have y'all discussed any of this? Are we talking about it? Do we even know about it? That's about it. I think I skipped stuff in there. But thank you for your time.
You did good, Bill. Rick Burmaster? Sure. That's easier than walking around, Rick.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the Vicksburg School Board, I have 3 daughters that attend Vicksburg, 2 at Indian Lake and 1 in middle school. I come to you today with a concern that I'd like your clarity on. I've heard stories of biological males in female restrooms, biological females in a male locker room. I've heard of a supposed student changing their gender on a weekly or potentially daily basis. I'm coming to you for clarity. What is the truth? I know you may not be able to speak about specific students, but what is Vicksburg's restroom and locker room policy? If we don't have a policy, what is our established practice? Is our practice to allow biological males into female restrooms and vice versa, or is it to hold to the historic established ethic of male and female? My concern is that our daughters and sons could become victims of non-physical contact sexual abuse. Child sexual abuse can also include behaviors that do not involve touching or physical contact. These behaviors can be just as upsetting and emotionally harmful to a child as some touching behaviors. Non-touching behaviors that are considered to be child sexual abuse include watching a child undress or use a bathroom, often without the child's knowledge, or exposing a person's genitals to a child or asking a child to expose themselves. If this administration's stance is to force our daughters, biological females, into accepting biological males into their restrooms and locker rooms and vice versa, I believe that this is not only immoral and indecent, I believe it meets standards of child sexual abuse. If this is not true, then please correct me where I'm wrong. If it is true, I call upon this board to do what is right and protect our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Heather?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to say that I am by no means comfortable with public speaking, so please bear with me if I seem to fumble through this. I have 3 children, a son who graduated from Vicksburg in '22, a daughter who will be a junior this year, and a daughter who will be in 1st grade. Yes, we have a big age gap with our kids. We used to joke saying we love Vicksburg school so much that we wanted to have a third just to send them through the school system. But our thoughts on that may be changing a bit in light of some of the situations happening within our district. A while ago, it was brought to our attention as well that a male student was using the girls' bathroom. Our daughter approached the principal and vice principal about this. She was told that the student would be directed to use the single-stall staff bathrooms if he chose to not use the boys' bathroom, which the student did not do. Many female students are using the bathroom only one time a day out of fear of anxiety that a male student could be in the bathroom with them, or to the point where they just can't hold it anymore. As a healthcare professional in women's health, I can tell you it is extremely dangerous for these young girls to dehydrate themselves to where they are using the restroom one time during a 7-hour day. These girls are being placed at risk not only for dehydration, but urinary tract infections, kidney infections, bowel dysfunction, and not to mention the added health risks of only using the bathroom one time a day when it's that time of the month for a girl. In addition to the physical health risks this is causing our girls, think of the mental health risks, anxiety, embarrassment, or bleeding through clothing, fear that a boy is in the stall next to them and they need to ask to spare a square or need a pad or tampon. Middle school and high school is hard enough for our youth without the added pressure that is being placed on these girls in this type of situation. Earlier this year, a group of concerned parents had a meeting with Superintendent Kevin O'Neill, Assistant Superintendent Steve Goss, and Board President Skip Knowles regarding this situation. Parents were told that there was nothing the board could do because transgender students are a protected class. What about our daughters' biological rights to privacy and protection? Our daughters are a protected class and need to be protected. The solution that was given to parents was that the girls had to use the single-staff bathroom if they did not feel comfortable with a boy in their bathroom. How is that right? But it does seem that we are living in a world where right is being made out to be wrong and what's wrong is being forced to be accepted. Biology and truth are being overlooked by subjectiveness of what a person thinks or feels of themselves. During that meeting, we were told that not only was the student allowed in the bathroom, but could also use the girls' locker rooms without any type of regulation or monitoring what was going on in the locker rooms. Let me ask you this, how is that my daughter cannot wear a spaghetti strap tank top, a crop top, or a one-shoulder tank without being dress coded, but a particular student can wear very revealing clothing that shows he is biologically a boy, and can walk around as a hormonal teenage boy in the girls' locker room naked if he wanted to. Any boy for that matter could, and it's allowed. Now, we've all heard the tragic stories of what is happening to females across the nation with transgenders in the bathrooms. During that parent meeting, the school's defense statement was, but nothing has happened yet. That is the key word, yet. Is anyone on the board willing for the first victim to be their daughter or granddaughter? And I say first because how do we know nothing has happened yet? Multiple girls and parents have been told there's nothing the school can do. So why would a young girl seek help from someone who has basically turned their backs on them? The school has emergency protocols in place for a mass shooting, just in case. The school has fire drills, tornado drills, etc., for just in case situations. What is the school board doing to prepare and prevent one of our girls from being sexually assaulted by a male student in the bathroom or locker room? We were told that a follow-up parents meeting would take place after the rest of the board was made aware of the situation. At the last board meeting, after another concerned parent spoke up about this matter, board member Tina Forsyth asked what building this was occurring in. So the additional board members were not notified of the situation like parents were told would happen. Parents have yet to be informed of a follow-up meeting for what will be done regarding this situation. School will be starting in 2 weeks and we have no acceptable resolution to this matter. I am also a proud member of the Facebook group that has grown to over 400 members, including students, parents, grandparents, and other concerned community members who are standing up for what is right. Everyone in the group shares the same beliefs and standards that it is not safe to have biological boys sharing the bathroom with biological females and vice versa. This is the same group that was previously referred to as a hate group at a board meeting. Disagreement in matter standing up for what is right is not the same as hate. And we all know Facebook. If it were a hate group, it would be shut down, censored, or fact-checked. The only hate that is being felt from this group is that we hate that our daughters are being put in a potentially unsafe situation, hate that their rights as young women are being challenged and violated, hate that their health and well-being is being jeopardized, hate that the school board hasn't been transparent with parents, and hate that moral ethics and social standards are not being followed in a place where our children are to be kept safe, the school. One of the school board's responsibilities is the safety of the students. Allowing males in the females' bathroom and vice versa is not safe and poses potential harm to students of both genders. You have a duty, and our daughters deserve the protection that is biologically righted to them in having only other females in their bathrooms and locker rooms. We implore you all to do better for our children and students at Vicksburg Community Schools.
All right. I'm not gonna sit there and make a statement about whether we do agree or don't agree. But I am gonna read a statement that we've had vetted by our attorneys, and I understand that this is tough. First, please note that Vicksburg Community Schools and school officials will not answer questions about specific students because the disclosure of personally identifiable information about student violates the Federal Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act and state law. Second, the district recognizes that providing students with a safe and supportive educational environment is of the utmost importance. The district's policies prohibit discrimination, bullying, harassment on the basis of sex, which includes sexual orientation and gender identity. In addition to following its policies, it is equally important that the district complies with federal, state, and local laws and guidance and legal precedent related to unlawful discrimination, bullying, and harassment. State and federal law and guidance and current binding case law in Michigan will require public schools to allow all students, including transgender students, to use the restroom that corresponds with their gender identity. Or use I don't want any comments, please. Or to use single-user restrooms, whichever the student chooses. If a student prefers to use single-occupancy restroom, we ask our students to let an administrator know and arrangements will be made. Regardless of gender identity, Vicksburg Community Schools expects that any individual using a restroom will respect the privacy of everyone else using the restroom and will conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. If not, the student will be held accountable according to Vicksburg Community Schools discipline policy. As a school community, we are obligated to create a safe and welcoming school climate, supervise it appropriately, and clearly articulate expectations about acceptable behaviors. We are not also required to address allegations of unlawful, we are also required to address allegations of unlawful bullying, harassment, or discrimination, and will continue to do so. Only thing I would ask everybody to understand, and this is not a debate, this is just listening to you guys' statement. You need to take this up with your legislators. Our state rep around here is Matt Hall, and I would tell you, we need to have some action with regard to the state level. We're kind of caught in the middle of that.
I have a
So-
quick question, just a question.
Well, this is really not a debate, but I'll take one question.
Just a question. Can't you guys as a whole, without thinking, I'm not saying more, but without thinking about money or sponsors or whatever, can't you guys as a whole say, you know what, in our school, it's not gonna happen if somebody says that they are a girl and you're a boy or vice versa, we can have them use this bathroom, whether that parent goes with it or not. Can't you guys make a decision on what's right, not on what you're told to do? Because you can be careful and not have a problem doing it that way.
It's, I'm gonna go back to legal, okay? And I know you don't wanna hear that, okay, but we can.
What is?
Please don't interrupt me, okay? I said I'd answer her one question, I'm trying to do that.
Well, you're saying that's illegal, I just wondered what the law was.
The law, there are court rulings, I read my statement, okay? I'm not gonna go any further. All I'm gonna say is this. We don't have a choice with regard to this matter. If this board were to take a stand like that, we would open the taxpayers of Vicksburg to what could be millions of dollars in litigation at the federal courts. And this is not, okay, this is not gonna be a debate, I just answered your one question. So that's where we are. I would tell you, please, please, contact state legislators. They don't hear from people with regard to this. I've asked questions of some of them. You need to do that so we get some action out of Lansing with regard to this, so that we get out of the middle of a bad situation. And on that, we'll go on to the meeting. We read that statement because we did not want to just not respond.
Can I ask a question?
No, this is not a debate period of time.
So I don't have a child in the high school yet. I do have a child, but he's a boy. I have a child that is in 8th grade right now I am very scared. As a survivor of child sex abuse, I am very afraid of my child, and she is very afraid of going into a bathroom. She has heard from her brother, who is in high school. This is what is happening. There's a boy with a mustache in the girls' bathroom.
Okay, thank you for your comments. We'll go on to board action required. We have before us approval of following board meeting minutes, the first being dated July 10th, 2023.
So moved.
Moved by Tina,
Support.
supported by Stephanie. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2, or not item 2, the second is August 1st, 2023. It's our work session minutes.
Move approval.
Moved by Dave,
Support.
supported by Tina. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of general fund invoices for the month ending July 2023 totaling $321,828.14.
So moved.
Moved by Carol,
Support.
supported by Ron. Discussion? Stephanie?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Ron? Yes. Tina?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And yes, motion carries. Item C, approval of purchase card disbursements for June 2023 totaling $63,281.31.
So moved.
Moved by Tina,
Support.
supported by Carol. Discussion? I'd like to have some quiet in the meeting so we can conduct it. If you'd like to step out in the hall to talk, that'd be fine. Okay, we had a motion from Tina, support by Carol. Discussion? Stephanie?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Ron? Yes. Tina?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And yes, motion carries. Approval to ratify the labor agreement between the Vicksburg Board of Education, Vicksburg Community Schools, and the Vicksburg Education Association for the 23-24, 24-25 school year.
So moved. Support.
Okay, who made the motion down here?
Tina can have it.
Tina? Then Stephanie, you supported it. Okay, any discussion? Stephanie?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Ron? Yes. Tina?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And yes, motion carries. Item E, approval of following teacher contracts upon results of state and federal record and unprofessional checks, and we'll take teachers 1 through 5 with the board's permission.
So moved.
Moved by Carol,
Support.
supported by Stephanie. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F, approval of following teacher resignations. We'll take teachers 1 through 3 with the board's permission.
So moved.
Moved by Carol,
Support.
supported by Stephanie. Thanks, Steph. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item G, approval of reinstatement of expelled student 2022-23A on a behavior contract.
So moved.
Moved by Carol? Or was it Tina?
Tina.
Okay.
Support.
Supported by Carol. Discussion? Stephanie?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Ron? Yes. Tina?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And yes, motion carries. Item H, second reading approval of Vicksburg Community Schools policies 2623 and 8400. Moved by, Ron moved. Supported by Carol?
Yep.
Okay, discussion? Stephanie?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Ron? Yes. Tina?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And yes, motion carries. And on that, we'll stand